What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 11 of the podcast this week. Not a lot going on this week in terms of news. It's been a pretty slow gaming news week, but it's still been a super busy week for me nonetheless here at the house. As most of you know, I've been moving in, slowly having that happen over the course of the past 2-3 weeks, etc. Probably about 2 weeks, but things are starting to slowly come together. You know, we'd been doing streams from the floor all last week while I waited to pick a new desk to buy and wait for it to ship here. But that's all done. It's all, I wish I could show you. Maybe I'll have Schmarkus throw up a picture right here of a brand new desk and the setup. I got to say, it's really fucking awesome. It's definitely a little bit shorter, like lengthwise, than the old plastic table I had, but so much nicer. It's more compact. I feel like all my screens, everything is right here. It looks really nice in the room. It has a much more professional vibe to it, and I was literally just talking about before we started up the podcast how I'd been looking into getting a new gaming chair, or just a new chair, not a gaming chair, new chair, because my back had been hurting and I thought it was my chair. But now that like I did a stream last night, and I'm streaming now, and we're recording the podcast, and I don't really have any back pain, and I'm coming to think that it was because of the way I had my setup before, where I had my main monitor to my right, and I always used to like sit out over and like this with my back hunched, and just doing that for like 2 seconds right there. I felt it. And honestly, like, I feel like this chair may not have been the problem. It may have been my own ass, just sitting like a goofball. So I don't know. I'm going to wait on it and see. I've been looking at getting like one of those Herman Miller Logitech chairs. Very, very expensive, very pricey, but I'm sure also very good and high quality. But I'm going to wait, I think, on that. I know a lot of people have been asking me about when you're going to order the chair, et cetera, et cetera. I think now that I have this new desk set up and just the way everything's set up, I think I'm going to take this next week and kind of assess where my back is at the end of the week, and then go from there before making a major purchase like that. So we'll see. Maybe this old. I mean, this chair I have right here is a nice chair. It's a Serta. It's like it wasn't cheap. It's like it was made for like a larger person. It's got like the memory foam and stuff in it. I think it was just that I wasn't sitting back super far on it. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna wait and see on that. But needless to say, the desk is here. It's awesome. Again, huge thank you to the community for hooking it up. You know, I probably would not have left to my own means. I would not have gotten one of these. Or just a new desk. I would have just rolled with the old plastic white table, and it like would have worked. But again, if it's leading to better posture and just like a cleaner workspace environment and just everything, I appreciate you all having enough care and wanting to have nice things, because it really does help. It's a huge thing. It also makes the room nicer, takes up less room space in my new room, all that. Also, you can't see it, but I've been slowly clearing shit out. I have space to walk around in my room now. You know, been putting boxes away and stuff. There's still a lot to take care of, but man, it's coming together, and I'm really excited. Starting to feel slowly like it's more homey in here. So we had somebody ask us too right before the podcast, what is going on with the green screen? Are we going to see the return of the green screen? You'll notice because I'm not sitting. You know, I have the desk now, but obviously the framing of the shot today is different than last week's podcast. But we still don't have the green screen as of right now. What I'm going to do is also over the weekend is mess around with the lighting. Really, what the biggest part about whether or not I'm going to use the green screen is really going to come down to lighting. I have these two really big, like photo shoot style, like those big box lights that I used to use at the old place. And I think I should have enough room to set them both up on either side. I'd probably have to use a mobile green screen for right now, but I think where I'm at with it on whether we're going to continue to use the room as the background or the green screen, I think it would probably be mostly situational, and maybe we'd do a little bit of both as opposed to going solely green screen like we have been. But that being said, I really want to if I'm going to have my room be the backdrop for the stream, I'd like to make it look a little bit nicer than what it currently does. I mean, we got a Marshall amp, you know, we got the Emmy. But maybe we could use some more, you know, I've got a whole bunch of stuff that people have sent me over the years. Really, really cool stuff. Pieces like I've got my Burley Todd statue. There's like a whole bunch of different pieces of like things people have painted or created for me. It'd be cool to get those in there. I'd like to probably cover this window, maybe get some cool curtains. I don't know, something. Make it look nicer. RGB lights. I don't know if I'm ready for that life. I don't know if I'm headed to the, make everything like mood lighting. You get the star projector on Amazon with the link that they always put on the Twitter replies. Yeah, I think it'll probably be a little mix of both, but over the weekend I'm going to mess around with lighting and see if I can get that right. So next week we might see the return of the green screen. So keep your eye out for it. As far as what we've been doing on stream lately, this past week we hungered down and changed it up a little bit. The last week we kind of did a grab bag of all sorts of different stuff. We were playing random stuff here, there, left, right. We played Skate 3, we played puzzle game, we played all sorts of stuff. This week I decided to get back into Super Mario World hacks, which I haven't played a Super Mario World ROM hack since Hyper 6. And for the longest time, I was basically like, I don't want to play one until I've beaten Hyper 6. And the only thing that's really done is kind of just like bottlenecked me having fun. There's so many hacks that I've missed out on because of it. I still do want to beat Hyper 6. I know a lot of people meme about it and whatnot. I do want to go back at some point. It's just you have to understand that like diving back into that is a whole thing. Like, it's a big commitment because once I start getting back into Hyper 6, I'm not going to want to stop until I've beaten it. And if I stop again before beating it, I'm only going to hear it every day. I hear it every day still now. Every day in chat, in our Discord, nobody has stopped with the Hyper 6 hype for Hyper 6. And so, like, for me to come back and do it and then, like, just not beat it and have to stop again would be a lot. So that's one reason for me why it's taking... I'm not just jumping back into it. But that being said, started playing Akogari this week, and that was one right before I started playing Hyper 6. That was going to be the next one that I wanted to check out and play. Looked interesting, looked like it'd be something I'd like. And we ended up beating the 80% this week, and it was really, really awesome. Outside of, like, there's a small number of critiques, but I mean, no game is perfect, you know what I mean? But really, really well-made hack. I may mess around with the 100%. I'm not really sure. I was considering doing it after we got the desk set up, but I think at this point, probably what I will do, now that we've beaten Akogari, shout out to Mega Scott, by the way, for creating Akogari, is I think we're going to look into playing Invictus next week. And what we did this week, too, is in addition to going back to Super Mario World hacks, is I did something a little different. Normally, I do one game or one playthrough of something in the morning streams and one at night. And for this, we just did Super Mario World the whole week, and it was great. I literally forgot how much fun it was to play a ROM hack that wasn't Hyper 6. Like, the joy of, like, trying really hard to get a trick and have, checkpoints that are fair and a sense of completion and I just everything that goes with like a well-made ROM hack. I just forgot what that was like, and it was so much fun. I had a blast with it. On top of that, like, it seemed like everybody enjoyed it. Like every stream that we had, the conversation was good. Chat seemed engaged. I don't know, it just seemed like a lot of fun, and it seemed like everybody was having a lot of fun and not just myself. So I definitely would like to do a little bit more SMW ROM hacks before moving on to the next big thing that we do with streaming, and that is our Finally tour. I feel like I've run through this spiel a million times, but I guess it's mostly because I talked about it so much during it last year. But for those of you who don't know, the Finally tour is a thing that we kicked off last year, where essentially I went through and played a bunch of games that I had missed out on. That's kind of the idea of it. You finally get the chance to play these games that are like super well loved by a lot of people, and we're just doing back-to-back a whole bunch of first playthroughs. And so last year we had so much stuff. We had Hollow Knight, we had Breath of the Wild, we had Red Dead Redemption 2. The list went on and on. We did the Donkey Kong Country games, the Yoshi's Island games. I know there's a lot of people who are like, man, how have you never played that? I didn't grow up as a Super Nintendo kid. I had a Sega. My friends had Super Nintendos. So there was a lot of Super Nintendo games on there. Super Metroid was on there. So we got to play all these like really, really dope games. Or I got to play all these really dope games that obviously, people are like super into. And so I think it went well last year. It seemed like people liked it. So we're going to bring it back again this year. I just got to go through and narrow down what I think I want to put on there for sure. We've got a pretty big list of games that are kind of like I'm thinking about. Some I'm pretty positive are going to make it on there, but I don't want to promise. I don't want to promise the world and then not deliver. So I think what we're going to do over the course of at least the next probably 2 weeks, I would say maybe 2 weeks from now, we'll have the list finalized at the earliest, and maybe kick things off. But I'll give you all the scoop on where we're at right now. So here's the possible list of games that may make it. Again, don't hold me to this because, maybe we do them all, maybe we don't. I will say that we probably do, for sure, we'll probably do about at least 50% of these, and then, maybe we'll announce that we're doing 50% of them and then do some of the other ones as a surprise. Yeah, without further ado, here's the list. Finally, to our possibly list for 2021, Beyond Good and Evil, God of War 4, a.k.a. Dad of War, the new one. I've never played any God of War game, ever. It'll be my first one. I've heard that I should just, I guess, watch a trailer for the other ones. So maybe I would do that. But I've heard nothing about good things. Also, being a dad, I feel like that one's going to hit pretty hard. Ghost of Tsushima. Also have not heard anything bad about that. It's supposed to be a beautiful game. GoldenEye, which a lot of you are probably like, how in the hell did you not play GoldenEye? Now, here's the thing. I have played GoldenEye multiplayer. I have played GoldenEye's single-player mode, but I never owned it as a kid. And so my only experience with playing single-player mode was like playing the first level, maybe the first 1 or 2 levels. So I've never played through and beaten that whole game. So I think it would be really cool to go back and watch that, or to play through it and have people watch me play through it. After GoldenEye, Chrono Trigger. Have never played Chrono Trigger. Obviously, that's a little bit of a longer playthrough. And that's the other really nice thing. The thing I liked about having this event last year is that there's a lot of games when I go to stream something, it's really, really daunting to take on a really long game, because if either I lose interest or people lose interest, I hate starting something and not finishing it. It's a pet peeve of mine. It's not something I like to do on stream. On top of that, it's just a lot of content that gets blocked out and taken away for other stuff. So I really don't play a lot of really super long games on stream. And I feel like this event kind of gives me like the break or like the excuse, like, okay, it's okay to do it. It's a known thing. So Chrono Trigger, I think, would be a great one on there. Might be the biggest name on the list, possibly. But there's some other dope ones too. Psychonauts has been suggested to me. South Park: The Stick of Truth. I played switch it around. Fractured But Whole would be on the list. I played Stick of Truth. Really, really liked it. We streamed it. And I already own the Fractured But Whole. So that one's more of like a personal one that I've really, really wanted to play and hadn't had the chance to. Half-Life is another one. Have never played Half-Life. I guess that's a pretty big name. There's quite a few big names now that I think of it. God of War, Half-Life, Chrono Trigger. Cave Story is one that's a little bit not as well known as some of the other ones. Obviously, to all the Cave Story fans out there, no disrespect, but not as notorious as like a Chrono Trigger or something like that. I know Xwater's been really hype on it. Like he did some sort of like challenge mode thing for it, and I've had it suggested by a couple people. It was also free on the Epic Store not too long ago. Cave Story there. Katamari Damacy. I think I'm saying that right. I think I know what that game's about. I think it's about like you rolling a ball and becoming bigger or something. It sounds like something that would be up my alley. Something super ridiculous and a lot of fun. What else is on here? Tomb Raider, the new ones. I probably wouldn't play all of them, but maybe I would play the first one. Those got suggested to me. Uncharted, another major, super big series that I've never played any of them before. I think I remember somebody saying something about the fact that I should play the second one first. I forget, or second one instead of the first one. I don't really remember. I would look more into that. Little Nightmares, which the second one just dropped for that. And I know that a lot of people really, really like the first one. It's supposed to be like a spooky platformer game. So there's that. Outer Wilds, which I don't know a whole lot about. I think it's kind of like No Man's. I might even be wrong. I think it's kind of like No Man's Sky. All I know about Outer Wilds is that it's received a metric ass ton of awards, and it's supposed to be really, really good. In addition to that, there's Slay the Spire, which we just got done playing Monster Train, which was a card game kind of like that. I played a couple things kind of like Slay the Spire, and I've really, really enjoyed them. So I imagine that I will also really like Slay the Spire. There's that. Dragon Quest 11, Echoes of an Exclusive Age, Definitive Edition S, whatever the whole 18 name title of that game is. I played some Dragon Quest. I played Dragon Quest, I think it was when it was called Dragon Warrior on Game Boy. I think I had Dragon Warrior. I had a cart that had like 1 and 2 on it, or 2 and 3 on it. Really my only experience with that, but I've heard that Dragon Quest 11 is supposed to be phenomenal. Again, it's just one of those situations where like I feel like I might not play it otherwise. Like if I don't, it's a longer playthrough. It's not really like in the vein of things I normally play. So like outside of playing it on the Finally Tour, I probably wouldn't get a chance to play it. So there's that. And then the last one, another JRPG, which is another one for me, similar to like Fractured But Whole, that I've wanted to play and just haven't played, that I've said, let's go ahead and add it to this possible list of Finally Tour, is Ni no Kuni and Wrath of the White Witch. And I think that it has an HD remake or something, but I remember seeing trailers for it a long time ago. It looked awesome, and I don't know, it's just something I kind of would like to check out. But yeah, that is our list at the moment. Now, that being said, again, not all those games are guaranteed to be played, but that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. Also, if there are any other games that you think I should play, you can always jump in our Discord in the suggestion box channel and feel free to throw something out there. Maybe you don't know what I've played, but you can always be like, hey, has Cliffy played this? And I can tell you, yes, I have played it. No, I have not. If there are games that you think are must-play games, and they don't have to be newer games. It could be Super Nintendo. It could be Sega. It could be GameCube. It could like literally be anything. Excited to start up the Finally Tour soon. I will say that it is coming soon. Me and Shamarcus are already in talks about getting some promotional stuff for it. So know that the Finally Tour, we started it in February of last year. Obviously, it's March now as of this recording. So we're starting it up a little bit later than we did last year. But I think we got some really, really good games. I don't know if it's going to be better, if the game's quality is going to be better. I'd like to be at least on the same level. I feel like if we can get Chrono Trigger, God of War, I feel like those are some of the more ones that like I probably am pretty sure I'm going to get in there, just because like they're like the really big ones, you know? Maybe GoldenEye and some other ones. But yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it very much, getting it all set up and then just diving into all these really, really solid games and playing them and just giving you my thoughts on them. Outside of that, really, there's only one other thing that I hadn't planned on discussing, not for any reason, really, just slipped my mind, but somebody brought up in chat just now, what's happening with Rust? What's going on with Rust? To briefly talk on that, the Rust server that we were playing on, the roleplay server, recently got wiped as of yesterday. I did not get on and take anything with me. Now that my PC is set up and my desk is set up and all this stuff, like, I would definitely be interested in jumping back into Rust at some point. So maybe we see some more Rust with a mix of Invictus next week. I don't know. We'll play it by ear. I would like to do it. The only really thing, one of the reasons I started falling off of Rust even before the move was a lot of people in our group, it was me, Jaku, Pooh, Kate, also newly added Johnny and Ross. A lot of people just weren't on, and it got to a part where like, I was having fun role playing, but I really had the most fun when like I was role playing with my friends, and like that was like the bigger part of it for me. And so when people weren't on, it was like it was a lot harder to try to have to come up with storylines every night just on my own, as opposed to like going on adventures with friends and doing stuff with them. But we'll see. I will say that it's not for sure dead to me, and I would like to get back on. And also like there were plenty of other people that were on the server too, that I had a great experience in time with. Reverend Cantino, Cruza, and there's people who are slipping my mind right now, slipping my memory, but there's a lot of people who I met for the first time who were a blast to play with. So no disrespect to them, but you know, even with those people, like they weren't on every time I was on. And so a lot of times it was like play by yourself for a long period of time and then maybe come across somebody for, you know, a short period of time. Whereas when we were playing with, you know, the group, like it was kind of like the whole stream I was hanging out with, you know, Jaku's character or whoever it was. So yeah, we'll see. I would like to do it. I had a lot of fun with it, and stay tuned, I guess. But that's pretty much it for us for our stuff this week. Again, kind of a slow news week, so we don't have a lot to get into there. One small thing I'd like to touch on is the fact that Last podcast, we reported on Nintendo having a Direct, and there was PlayStation had a State of Play. Xbox hasn't had like something like that, but they did announce there's some new games coming to Game Pass this month. A lot of sport titles, which are kind of interesting because Xbox doesn't usually put a whole bunch of sport titles on their Game Pass subscription plan, whatever you want to call it. But they are getting Madden 21, which is already on there, as well as Football Manager, which is less interesting to me, but it's on there. NBA 2K21, which I haven't checked, but I think it's the last gen version. I think it's the Xbox One version as opposed to the Xbox X or /S version, which makes it slightly less cool to me if that is the case. Obviously, I'd like to play the new one, but I had fun playing 2K21 with Ike last week when we did a Cliffy vs. Ike stream, so the fact that it's on there is pretty cool. So those are already out, and then coming later this month, Star Wars Squadrons, which looks phenomenal on the Xbox Series X and was a lot of fun to play with friends. I don't think it's as much fun solo, but if you got a group of people to play with, definitely worth checking out. And the fact that it's, added in with Game Pass, I think there will be a lot more people playing. So that's pretty cool. And then that and NHL 21. So nice little mix of sports games in there and also the Star Wars Squadrons tacked on. I think it's a good move by Xbox, to add stuff like that in there and kind of continue to like reach out and try to get as many people interested in Game Pass as possible, which, they've already done an excellent job, in my opinion, of providing a whole bunch of games of quality in a lot of different genres. And I think it's just another solid move by them to do that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for us as far as like new stuff this week. If there's anything I've missed, feel free to let me know in the comments down below, and I could try to address it. But I think that's been pretty much it, which leads us to questions. So shout outs to Mom's Meatloaf with our question this week. He says, yo, it's Mom's Meatloaf here. Really enjoyed you watching your roleplay in Rust. And it was sad when everyone else seemed to drop it, so you didn't have many people online. Have you ever considered trying GTA 5 roleplay? I've just gotten into watching some of it on YouTube, and it seems like a much more populated role-playing game. I would love to see Wee Wee or a whole new creation take on Los Santos. Never stop flexing that Emmy, my dude. And have a great day. Moms, thank you very much for the question. I will not stop flexing the Emmy, so don't worry about that. It's funny. I'm actually, when it comes to like celebrating your own achievements, it's something I struggle with a little bit. I feel very weird posting about like when I'm successful with things. And I've been very over the top with the Emmy on stream, to the point where it's become like I've been, meme level with it, just doing it to do it. But yeah, I really appreciate that, Moms. But back to your question about role playing. For one, I would say, just like any server, GTA 5 is only as populated. Like what you're watching on YouTube is probably, I would imagine there's No Pixel is a big one. I'm not sure of a lot of the other big ones, but they're only like you can find good and bad servers either way, and populated, less populated. It's funny that you bring out GTA 5 roleplay because a long time ago, several years back, there was a large group of us Mario Maker streamers who were going to do that, to the point where I bought it on PC because we were gonna have a server. I booted it up, whatever. I forget who all was involved, but I think it was just like a lot of the Mario Maker people, and people had started like planning for it, and then something happened and we just never did it. And it just never happened. But like, so I do have the game. As far as like if I would ever do it, I would be interested in it because I really, really enjoyed the roleplay aspect of Rust and like the fun that I had with that and character creation and staying in character. That's all a blast to me. So yeah, I'm down with it. But honestly, like, I feel like it's another thing that like I would want to go in with at least some people I knew. Like either the server would have to be so populated, it would have to be so many people on that like I'm for sure running into people like constantly. Either that or I'd have to have like a group of friends to mess with. Now, I feel like for sure 100% what I've seen from some GTA 5 roleplay streams is those people are 100% in on character, role-playing hard, like literally at all times, which I felt like there was like a mix of it on the Rust server. Like there were some people who were more into it and like in it on 100%. There were some people who were in it sometimes or less. I think I would have a lot of fun with it. I don't know as far as like I don't know how to get, like, I imagine, like, if I wanted to get into something like NoPixel, there's like an application process. I feel like I would be more comfortable doing it with some other friends. Like if I was going to join a server like that, joining with like 2 or 3 other people, just to kind of like ease my toes into it or whatever or whatnot. I don't know. Maybe it's something I'll look into. Like anything else with streaming, like if there's a thing that people really, really want and I feel like people in our community are being vocal about, then I will look into it and attempt to try to bring you the content that you want to see. And it's always a mix of obviously what I want to do and what I'm having fun with and also what all you want. So, but no, I guess if that's a thing that people would like to see, I could look into it. I have the game. I'd have to learn a little bit more about it. But yeah. I had a blast with Rust roleplay, so I would say GTA 5 roleplay not off the table. It's really the only real thing that I could think about, and big reason why we wouldn't at the moment, is the fact that we're getting the Finally tour started up, and that's going to be started up soon, and that just eats up a lot of time. Not that we won't be taking breaks from that to play other stuff, because you better believe when Pokemon Snap comes out, I don't give a fuck what we're doing. We're playing that day one. I will try to make sure the Finally tour lines up with maybe me ending something a little bit previous to that, and maybe we'll have like a couple filler streams before Pokemon Snap drops. But we'll definitely take breaks for like a Pokemon Snap playthrough, or if Ratchet and Clank comes out, I'll do a playthrough of that, whatever. But I feel like there's a lot of commitment when it comes to a role play thing, because when you're being on the server, you're taking up space on the server. Especially if it's a really popular one, you're taking up space that, there's a lot of other people who want to get in and play. And so like, there's kind of like a level of, I would say like commitment, or like it's an understood, like an agreement that if you're going to be on the server, you're going to be active and playing so that you can help provide content for other people. So I really would hate to like join in something like that and then not put in the time, if that makes sense. Because that'll lead to obviously like the death of the server. If there's nobody on and playing, and I'm just taking up space. So I don't know. I hope that I answered the question for you, moms. I appreciate you sending it in, and I'm glad that you really enjoyed the role play. I put my heart into it. I really tried as hard as I could to, remain in character and also try to build storylines and story arcs and try to create different experiences. And I had so much. It was so different. It was so different than like anything else I'd done video game wise. Yeah, I would be down to get back into it. I just got to find the right moment. Maybe that comes with Rust this week, or this, in the next coming week or so, with the server wipe coming back. Maybe we see, maybe I can look into GTA 5 roleplay. But yeah, that has been it for our podcast this week. So thank you very much for listening and tuning in. As far as things coming up, just real quick before we end, I've got little Cliffy's birthday is coming up. So I got some planning to do for that. I'll probably talk about that a little bit more on next week's podcast. But I'm putting together a trying to put together a super dope birthday for him. So I'll give you more details about that next week as I get closer. But yeah, I don't know. Until next time, thank you very much for listening. And as always, if you've got questions you want to send in to me to get answered, more long form things that, I probably wouldn't dive into live on our Twitch streams, I'm willing to answer here on the podcast. You can always send them in to my email at cliffyvg@gmail.com with the title #CliffyQuestions in all caps. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you later.